persuasion, negotiation, verbal reframing, using humor, storytelling, doing a hypnotic induction, etc., would be examples of capabilities involving complex linguistic skills. Clearly, each level of skill needs to include and incorporate the abilities or traits employed by the levels preceding it. Thus, it is typically more challenging and involved to model complex skills than simple ones, and it is easier to learn modeling by beginning with simple behavioral and cognitive skills before moving to more complex tasks. Often, however, complex skills can be chunked down into a group or sequence of simpler ones. Skills form various levels of complexity. There's a diagram with multiple boxes inside boxes, from the middle being simple behavioral to the outside box being complex linguistic. So, simple behavioral, simple cognitive, simple linguistic, complex behavioral, complex cognitive, and complex linguistic. One key consideration in modeling, then, is determining at which level or chunk size of skill one will be focusing. Wonder what would happen if I put this fist down behind my back. One key consideration in modeling, then, is determining at which level or chunk size of skill one will be focusing. The distinctions and procedures which are successful for modeling one level of skill may not be as effective in modeling another level. For example, simple imitation or mirroring may be a successful strategy for modeling simple behavioral skills, but be an ineffective means to model complex cognitive or linguistic skills. Likewise, a simple questionnaire or verbal interview may be enough to model a simple cognitive skill, but be inadequate to create an effective model for a complex or even simple behavioral skill. Chapter 3. Modeling Methodology. Overview of Chapter 3. Modeling Methodology. 3 basic perspectives in modeling: implicit and explicit modeling, basic phases of modeling, summary of the steps in the modeling process, some beginning modeling drills and exercises, finding relevant patterns, feature detection, pattern recognition, Mills methods, defining a modeling project, goals for the modeling process. Modeling methodology. One of the pivotal parts of the modeling process is the methodology used to gather information and identify relevant features and patterns relating to the traits of the persons being modeled. This is known as elicitation in NLP. This book does not go in wrapping steps. While standard forms of information gathering, such as questionnaires and interviews, can assess some information, they often fall short of identifying the unconscious or intuitive operations used by a human expert. They also often assume or delete important information regarding context. In addition to questionnaires and interviews, it is often useful and necessary to incorporate more active methods for gathering information, such as role-plays, simulations, and the real-life observation of the expert in context. While NLP modeling methodology does deploy interviews and questionnaires, the primary form of modeling in NLP is done by interactively engaging with the individuals to be modeled in multiple examples of the skill or performance to be studied. This provides the highest quality information and creates the best chance to capture the most practical patterns in the same way that having a living model is genuinely more desirable for an artist to work from than a verbal description. The most commonly used NLP elicitation methods involve either 1. Recalling or reliving a specific experience, or 2. Carrying out a task which presupposes or triggers a particular capability, strategy, resource, or problem state. If a person is an excellent public speaker, for example, the person could be asked to think of a time when he or she was giving a speech, or B. asked to stand up in front of a group and talk. Similarly, to elicit a person's creative process, the person could be asked to A. recall and relive a time when he or she was particularly creative, or B. do something creative on the spot or in the moment. The first method of engaging memory has advantages in that the individual can more easily get distance from the experience in order to think about or reflect on the structure of the experience. Additionally, if aspects of the experience are unpleasant, it can be easier for the person to dissociate from or get out of the experience. The disadvantages are that the person may give contaminated or mixed signals, because the person is continually having to go through the process of recall. He may or she may move in and out of the states or experience being accessed, creating confusion for an inexperienced observer. Also, people tend to do a significant amount of filtering, deletion, distortion, or generalization, as they are determining what to access and present to others. The advantage of the second method is that it provides more immediate, higher quality information about the experiences or states to be explored and utilized. There is less conscious filtering of the experience, and therefore more spontaneous and conscious cues available. A disadvantage of this approach is that people can become caught in the content of the experience and be unable to easily reflect on their process or develop enough metacognition. Alternatively, a problem can arise if people become overly self-conscious during the task or performance, causing them to become either uncomfortable or dissociated from their experience. Another common and powerful form of elicitation is acting as if. The process of acting as if allows people to drop their current perception of the constraints of reality and use their imagination more fully. Whenever this state gets attached to an actual meaning, I just look towards the camera and say it. Otherwise, it's just blank reading. It utilizes people's innate ability to imagine and pretend in order to draw out or create responses. Acting as if is one of the most profound ways of eliciting resources.